In the rugged mining town of Virginia City, Nevada, during the 1860s, one name stood out among the rough and rowdy inhabitants: Julia Bulette. A woman of charm, generosity, and resilience, Julia was more than just a figure in the red light district. She was a part of the very fabric of the Comstock Lode community. Her impact went beyond her profession, as she formed close bonds with firefighters, miners, and businessmen alike. She played a pivotal role in bringing a sense of community and compassion to a place often filled with hardship. Her tragic murder in 1867 left a lasting impact, sparking a legendary tale that remains etched in Nevada history. Her story, though tragic, is a testament to the indelible mark she left on Virginia City, a town that both adored and mourned her. The early life of Julia Bulette. Julia Bulette's origins remain shrouded in mystery, with conflicting accounts suggesting she was born either in London, England, or Natchez, Mississippi, around 1832. Some historical records indicate she was of French Creole descent, which could explain her fluent French and Southern charm. Like many women of the Victorian era who had limited employment opportunities, she turned to prostitution, starting her career in New Orleans, a major port city with a booming economy and a well-established red light district. As the California gold rush erupted in 1848, drawing thousands of prospectors, tradesmen, and fortune seekers, Julia saw an opportunity and traveled westward in 1852. The massive influx of men created a demand for companionship, entertainment, and vice, making prostitution a lucrative, albeit dangerous, profession. For nearly a decade, she moved between various mining camps, surviving in the rough, lawless frontier where violence, disease, and exploitation were common threats. By 1863, she had arrived in Virginia City, Nevada, a rapidly growing settlement fueled by the discovery of the Comstock Lode, the richest silver deposit in American history. Unlike many of her counterparts who worked under the control of madams or brothel owners, Julia sought independence, setting herself apart as a self-sufficient woman navigating a male-dominated world. Virginia City and the Comstock Lode. Virginia City, established after the discovery of the Comstock Lode in 1859, quickly became one of the wealthiest and most infamous boomtowns in the American West. The Comstock Lode, which produced over $400 million in silver and gold, transformed the region into a bustling economic hub, drawing thousands of miners, investors, and opportunists from across the country. By 1860, the town had a population of 2,390, but only 118 of them were women, creating a stark gender imbalance that heightened the demand for female companionship. The influx of wealth also led to extreme social divisions. Prosperous businessmen and mine owners built opulent mansions on A and B streets, while the working-class miners toiled for long hours in treacherous underground tunnels, earning meager wages. Saloons, gambling halls, and brothels became central to the town's nightlife, offering men a temporary escape from their harsh reality. Prostitution, while officially frowned upon, was an open secret and an essential part of the economy, with women facing immense risks, including violence, exploitation, and deadly diseases like syphilis. Julia Bulette established herself on D Street, Virginia City's notorious red light district, where she quickly distinguished herself from the average prostitute. Instead of working in a traditional brothel, she operated independently, carefully selecting her clientele from the city's elite, including mine owners, wealthy merchants, and high-ranking officials. Her charm, wit, and discretion made her a favorite among the town's upper class, and her clients often lavished her with expensive jewelry, fine clothing, and other extravagant gifts. Despite working in a stigmatized profession, Julia gained widespread recognition, and unlike many women in her field, was respected by some of Virginia City's most influential men. Julia Bulette, the Queen of D Street. Unlike the common perception of prostitutes at the time, Julia was widely respected. She was known for her refined taste and generosity, living in a modest but elegantly decorated cottage at 4 North D Street. Unlike the grand mansions of the town's wealthy elite, Julia's home was cozy but adorned with fine furniture, luxurious fabrics, and trinkets from her wealthy patrons. She stocked a personal bar with fine liquor, entertained the city's elite, and cared for sick miners who had no one else to turn to. Many miners who lived dangerous and lonely lives saw Julia as more than just a courtesan. She was a source of kindness and comfort in their otherwise harsh existence. She took precautions for her health, regularly visiting doctors and using contraceptives, which was rare for women in her profession. Unlike many women of her era, Julia prioritized her well-being and took steps to protect herself in an industry fraught with risks. Despite her occupation, Julia was deeply integrated into the Virginia City community. She was an honorary member of Fire Engine Company No. 1, often riding alongside firefighters as they rushed to battle flames in the dry wooden town. The fire company, consisting of Virginia City's prominent figures, merchants, stockbrokers, and mining speculators, welcomed her with open arms, solidifying her status as a beloved local figure. She was one of the few women granted such an honor, further highlighting the unique place she held in Virginia City society. The fateful night of January 19, 1867. On the night of January 19, 1867, Julia Bulette attempted to attend a performance at Piper's Opera House, but a new ordinance required prostitutes to sit in a secluded box with the curtains drawn. Outraged at the discrimination, she refused and left. This moment illustrated the double standard of the time. While she was adored by many, she was still marginalized by societal expectations. She later had dinner with her neighbor and close friend, Gertrude Holmes, who would be the last person to see her alive. The next morning, Holmes brought breakfast to Julia's home, only to discover a horrifying scene. Julia was found partially clothed, brutally beaten, and strangled to death. The room showed clear signs of a struggle, and many of her valuables, including jewelry and fine clothing, were missing. Her murder sent shockwaves through Virginia City, as even those who disapproved of her profession could not ignore the brutality of her death. The entire town was gripped with fear and sorrow, as the harsh reality of lawlessness and crime became evident. The murder shocked the entire town, sobering even the rowdiest miners, who had grown accustomed to the dangers of frontier life, but had never seen such violence inflicted upon a beloved figure like Julia. The investigation and trial of Jean Millian. The search for Julia's killer became a top priority. Months passed with no major leads until prostitute Martha Camp was startled awake by an intruder. Her scream scared him off, but she later recognized him on the street. Authorities identified him as Jean Millian, a French drifter and baker, and arrested him. Millian had no known history of violent crime, which made his involvement all the more shocking. A search of Millian's home revealed Julia's missing belongings, including her clothing and jewelry. He was swiftly put on trial, and although the evidence against him was circumstantial, the jury convicted him without hesitation. The trial was swift, as the town was eager for justice and closure. His appeal to the Nevada Supreme Court was denied, and he was sentenced to death. On April 24, 1868, Millian was hanged before a crowd of over 4,000 spectators, including families with children. Public executions were common at the time, often seen as both a spectacle and a deterrent for crime. Among those present was Mark Twain, the famed writer and former journalist for the Virginia City Territorial Enterprise. The event marked one of the most publicized executions in Nevada history, reinforcing the town's need for justice in an era where the law was often fragile. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed learning about Julia Bulette and other fascinating figures from history, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on more incredible stories from the past. Thanks for watching.